You know how everybody that Trump hires is like, we hate how the government works. The government sucks. Let me get a job in government so I can prove it. Government can't do anything right. Elect me and I'll prove it. Well, Jeanine Pirro is now, I guess, the, well, she's on Newsmax right now, but she's, Trump ripped her off of Fox News where they were going to let her go and gave her a job in government because nothing says bootstrap an American like a government job, according to these folks. Jeanine Pirro exposes the lunacy of the DC law system she's up against as a U.S. attorney. Yeah, fucking Miranda, am I right?
As I told you, if I were a criminal, I would not want her coming after me. I'm talking about the new U.S.
Well, what about fucking, what was his name? It wasn't Phil Spector. It was the other guy, Robert Durst. Yeah. Yeah. Where they played the audio for Jeanine Pirro. Have you ever seen the documentary about Robert Durst? Where he confesses while he's in the bathroom, basically, because he left his mic on, the jinx, right? They play the audio years after for Jeanine Pirro, and she's like, wow, no way. Yeah, way, dipshit.
Attorney for the District of Columbia, Jeanine Pirro. And if you do not believe me, here's what I said yesterday on this news program. But I just want to go back to Jeanine Pirro, who's the U.S. attorney here, having known her from...
Oh, okay. So it only took you one day to mispronounce her name. Gotcha. Okay.
Fox News forever, and Pam Bondi over at the U.S. Attorney, the United States Attorney General. I just wouldn't mess with either one of those women.
Yeah,
I wouldn't want either one of them on my tail.
Well, unless you're, I guess, Ghislaine Maxwell or Robert Durst or Jeffrey Epstein or anybody who worked with Jeffrey Epstein and anybody who fucked a kid at Epstein Island or at his fucking house in West Palm Beach or at his house in New York, right? In that case, you're in the clear.
Go back to former district attorney in Westchester County in New York, former judge in Westchester County, New York, former colleague of mine at the Fox News Channel, and now the United States Attorney for the District of Columbia, Jeanine Pirro. Jeanine, boy, it's great to see you.
It's great to see you, Greta. We had the same memo today on the red jackets. But you're right. We go back a...
First of all, she's wearing orange and you're wearing red. They're two different colors. I don't know. Maybe wine does that to your corneas.
very long time. And both of us have, I think, very similar philosophies about law enforcement and crime in general. But I'm thrilled to be here in the district with you.
I'm thrilled to have you there. And when I said that I wouldn't mess with you, I was serious. You know, frankly, I mean, I don't know if the viewers know, you're a whole lot of fun. You're a whole lot of fun. But very serious prosecutor, and I really wouldn't want you to be chasing me. I really would.
Yeah, if you're poor, totally. If you're a poor or middle class criminal, she gets on your tail, you're fucked. But if you're like Durst rich, don't worry about it. She'll overlook every possible turn.
I appreciate that. You know, we've got a lot of chasing to do here in the District of Columbia. There's a lot of crime here, Greta. And, you know, when the president...
Yes, we're familiar with the guy who hired you.
Decided that he wanted to make D.C. safe and beautiful, the agenda was one that was...
The irony.
Very clear for me. It's going back to my roots as a prosecutor.
Yes, leaving white-collar criminals and sex offenders alone while going after, like homeless people, I guess.
As a judge, as someone who fights for the victim.
Or violent criminals, which anybody would do.
And I think that people in D.C. for too long have been victimized by violent crime. They had the 4th highest murder rate in the country last year. I mean, think about that.
Is a dude kicking in, is it because it's mad at the automated door isn't working?
D.C. was a state, it would be the most, it would have the highest homicides in the country.
Oh my God. Did you see that? This, how can they show this on television? There are children watching. Did that kid just bust a fucking window and get a bag of chips?
And
the violence.
The fact that
and he ran away. Oh my God.
Rate is like many times that of places like
Person of interest one in the great chippening of in D.C. What the fuck does that say? Washington, D.C. Metropolitan Police Department. So they've got this random. Oh my fucking God. Do not tell me the crime is this bad if all you got to show is a fucking, some dude going, sour cream and onion. I'm going to the next store, crack.
Islamabad and Havana, Cuba, and all that.
And you have to play the same clip twice? And she's saying that we have a worse murder rate than Islamabad and all these places where they, A, sanction murder all the time, and B, never actually keep track of real murders.
Indication of how dangerous it is here. And I have to tell you, Greta, looking at all of this, I think
if it was dangerous, why are they busting into places after hours? I mean, it's not like there's staff in there.
D.C. Council has passed laws that are absurd, and for those
2 pairs of shoes. God, oh, look at this.
From the
3 pairs of shoes. Guy's only got 2 feet. What the fuck? What a greedy son of a bitch.
It's like the local state law enforcement and the local law enforcement or representative.
They're running off with an ATM
of the state legislature.
That old chestnut.
And then you've got the DC.
They got a dolly.
Courts. They are so
fucking wheeled it out. Just like jackasses at home. Like, you know, they spent all night going, I lost. It's costing me $65 in blades. And then they open it up and there's $50 in it.
Liberal. They go so beyond what the Supreme Court requires that.
Okay, so here you go. This is the dude robbing a place. I would lead with this.
2 weeks ago, I had a guy who shot another kid on a bus, shot him in the chest. Okay, he was 19 years old. To me, Greta, you shoot someone in the chest, it's the intent to kill. Well, we convicted him of shooting the other kid in the chest. The judge gave him probation, said you should go to college. That's the end of it. This is what I'm dealing with.
Hold on one second. Okay. Let's see. 19-year-old DC shoots chest, probation, college. Something like should show up, right? DC, here you go. DG judge frees teen who shot man on Metrobus. Javari Peaks, 19, receives probation after shooting incident. Okay. Let's see. Okay, this is former college. It's Janine Pirro bitching about it. Let's see. It's 5 days. Is it the same one? It's July 24th. So this is the okay. This is fucking shrink down, you jerk. Okay. This is judge frees teen who shot man on Metrobus, sparking outrage from interim U.S. attorney Janine. The Youth Rehabilitation Act gives judges broad discretion when sentencing defendants who were under 24 when their crimes were committed, angering prosecutors. A 19-year-old former college football player who shot a man in the chest on a crowded Metrobus in March walked free from court this month after a judge suspended his entire prison sentence under Washington, D.C.'s Youth Rehabilitation Act. Javari Peaks pleaded guilty to felony counts of aggravated assault while armed and possession of a firearm during a crime of violence after video showed him pulling out an unregistered handgun and shooting the victim on the bus. The victim survived after being treated by EMS at the scene. But D.C. Superior Court Judge Rainey Branch stunned prosecutors by suspending Peaks' entire 4-year prison. He would have gotten 4 years. 4 years and 3 years of supervised release, instead sentencing him on to probation under the Youth Rehabilitation Act. YRA gives judges broad discretion while sentencing defendants who were under 24 when their crimes were committed, allowing for alternatives to incarceration except in the most serious cases like murder. Defendants sentenced under the act can also have their crimes shielded from public view. Okay, they've raised it to 24 from 18 is the idea. The lenient sentence enraged interim Janine Pirro as violent teen boarded a public transportation with an illegal firearm, shot the victim in the chest. His actions were reprehensible and dangerous, blah, blah, blah. Despite our request for significant jail time, refused to incarcerate him. DC will not give any ruling. Judge Brandt cited Peaks' age, lack of prior criminal record, and strong family support as reasons for the suspended sentence. The judge also noted that Peaks' cousin had been robbed on public transport 5 months earlier, causing anxiety and paranoia while using transit. So That's why he was carrying the gun, is the idea. Investigators say bus surveillance obtained by that showed the victim harassing Peaks in the minutes before the shooting, as the defendant appeared to try avoid the confrontation. Come on. Investigators say bus surveillance video obtained by Channel 9 showed the victim harassing Peaks in the minutes before the shooting, as the defendant appeared to try avoiding confrontation. But legal experts are divided on the sentence. Okay, blah, blah, blah. Jail doesn't make people less violent. We know that it makes people more violent. Johnson said the Youth Act doesn't require the judge to give someone probation, but allows judges to consider individual circumstances. Rejects the approach, arguing that certain people under certain circumstances who are acting the way this young man did should at least be given that opportunity to go to jail, I guess. Okay. So let's listen to how she describes it again while they're playing fucking crime porn on the I guess the side view.
Okay, he was 19 years old. To me, Greta, you shoot someone in the chest, it's the intent to kill. Well, we convicted him of shooting the other kid in the chest. The judge gave him probation, said you should go to college. That's the end of it. This is what I'm doing.
Does anybody notice missing details that might, I don't know, from a judge or from a district attorney might clear up the circumstance a little bit? Might clarify what actually fucking happened? Also, what was he was found guilty of, he pleaded guilty, so they gave him a plea, pleaded guilty to felony counts of aggravated assault while armed and possession of a firearm during a crime of violence. So the crime of violence happened first, and of course he used a gun to do it. So he had a gun. I don't see that in here. It was an unregistered handgun. But fuck, DC, I don't know what their fucking rules are. And they're not going to bring that up because I guarantee, like, right-wingers don't think any gun should be registered, so they're never going to chase this down.
With. We get gun possession, gun convictions, the judges won't send them to jail. So we've got to turn everything around. It's a mentality. Laws have to be changed. Courts have.
So we got to start, and again, this is shoplifting happening in the background and video from God knows when. Like, they don't even bother to time it. Could have happened 3 to 5 years ago. Doesn't matter. But notice how she's like, we get all these gun convictions and nobody wants to charge them. Okay, first of all, talk to your boss. Talk to Trump's crowd and the NRA-backed, wing of the Republican Party and the Freedom Caucasians. You want rules about guns? Go say that next to them. Go, if you gotta, I'm with you. If you want, illegal guns off the streets and tighter controls on who can have them and why, then fucking say so. Gross.
To be changed. It's very bad here in the district, and we're doing everything we can with this surge, working with the metropolitan.
Yes, with this surge. My name is Serge, and how can I help you? Hold on, I'm opening up my buttons again because they decided to go to
Police
sleep.
Department bringing in all our federal.
There's a guy
We made over 400.
Wait. What the fuck was that? Wait. Look, I understand we're watching fear porn, black people shoplifting.
And we're doing everything we
That's
can
the thing.
with
This guy lighting something and throwing it at somebody.
With the Metropolitan Police
Some dude throwing Molotov cocktails, probably in an abortion clinic.
Department bringing in all our federal partners, and we made over 4.
Apparently, he was maybe I don't know. Maybe somebody just postmated 2 birthday cakes.
150 arrests, I think, since Thursday, and we've collected or taken 70 guns off the street. That's 70 few weapons that people can use to kill other people.
Yeah, imagine if we went all the way, fucking Beto.
I think you proved my point why I wouldn't want you after me on a serious.
Oh my God, on a serious charge.
You recently
Thanks,
wrote
CSL.
an op-ed.
Yeah.
I live here, and what you wrote in it is about. We talk about crime, but a lot of this crime is done by very young people who are out of reach of the courts because they're not adults.
Yeah, fuck that. We got to start charging kids as adults. That's right. Children need to spend as much time behind bars as a full-grown adult making the same judgments. And you know why? Because that moves us closer to people like Dershowitz saying, well, if a kid can go to jail for killing somebody, who says they can't fuck an old man? Only pedophiles want children tried as adults. Feel free to at me.
And I mean, that's a crisis in the city.
Yeah. It is a crisis. The problem is that we've got 14, 15, 16, and 17-year-olds who can actually shoot someone with a gun. I could prove it, but I'm not allowed to even arrest or prosecute or convict that person because
That's not true.
of the laws in D.C. And you know,
No. Murder is not legal between the ages of 14 and 17 in D.C. No. The fuck out of here. Kyle Rittenhouse shot 2 black people and was found guilty. Kyle Rittenhouse didn't shoot any black people. Rittenhouse, I'm fairly certain all of Rittenhouse's victims were white. Yeah. Let's see. Anthony Huber and Gage Grosskreutz and Joseph Rosenbaum. Yeah, the hold on, let me show you pictures. Not, you know, we can still move on with the conversation, but let me see if I can find, yeah. The people shot by Joseph Rosenbaum, where's he got to be? Anthony Huber and Grosskreutz. I can think that's him. Yeah, that's the other one. Yeah. So no, just saying, it's kind of important.
got to lower the age.
You don't have to. We don't even have to get mucked up in that stuff to be right about what we need to be right about. Okay.
Of responsibility. You can make it consistent with violent crimes. That would make sense. But right now, you've got a bunch of punks running around, gangs and crews that have no accountability, no responsibility. They carjack, and they can do it openly, and we cannot arrest them. They go to the state attorney general, and they go to family court, the purpose of which is rehabilitation.
Excuse me, how did they get to the state attorney general and to family court if they weren't arrested? Also, your boss is a rapist.
Ice cream socials and a few yoga things now and then. And that
no, you're thinking of Ghislaine Maxwell.
Is not consistent with what we've got to do to clean up this city. They know that they're not going to be arrested. They know that they can actually run around with guns and not be arrested, Greta.
They are being arrested. They're being arrested. What your complaint is that the judge is letting them go, but they are being arrested. Otherwise, how would you even have said, like, that you convicted this guy and you got him charged and the judge let him off? This is so stupid.
Lunacy here. And
yes, it is. It is fucking lunacy. Of course they get arrested.
What the president is doing, and I got to, yeah.
I was going to say that one of the things I think we got to look at in this country, it's being done in a few jurisdictions, is that there was a case here before you arrived where 3 girls, 12, 13, 14, kicked some poor man to death in his 60s, a disabled man on the street. And they, you know, it was after midnight, I think. And I think you got to go after some of these parents and find some laws to hold the parents to get their kids in at home. I mean, there's a lot of parental responsibility that we've got to figure out some way to include the parents, to put maybe the laws need to be changed so the parents.
Here's the thought. What if they don't actually have any? Okay, sorry. Let's see. Yeah. So they're talking about the killing of Reggie Brown. And one of the, they've got, most of them, the girls that did this, let's see, they pleaded guilty to downgrade charge of assault with dangerous weapon. DC sentenced the girl to 3 years in a secured detention. She'll be committed until she turns 19, which will be in November of 2027. Yeah, so they were put in juvie, essentially. This happens all the time. she was one of 5. The weird part is that the other 4, I guess, didn't consider. Card sends man to 15-year prison. Here's Washington, D.C. Killing man in the Northeast. Okay, that's different. One second. I'm trying to find the other allow. Yeah, whatever. 15-year-old girls found guilty. Yeah, okay. This is the story they're talking about, the death of Reggie Brown. Let's see. Under D.C. law, the girls could face a maximum sentence of imprisonment until the age of 21. That's what they do with children, is that they imprison them until they're 21 years old. 2 girls, ages 13 and 14, were found guilty of second-degree murder in the beating death of 64-year-old man. The verdict was handed down by the Superior Court Judge Kendra Briggs on Monday, more than a year after the harrowing crime took place. That's not weird. That happens all the time. Under D.C. law, the girls could face a maximum sentence of imprisonment to the age of 21. They kicked him to death last year because they were bored and looking for something to do. The teen who proposed the plan testified last month at the trial of the 2 other girls charged in his murder. We were pretty much satisfied, said one of Reggie's older sisters, but we also are going to not stop until we get justice for the guy who initiated this whole thing with my younger brother. 5 girls, ranging in age from 12 to 15, are accused of chasing down Brown and kicking and beating him to death in an alley in the 6200 block of Georgia Avenue Northwest on October 17th of last year. 2 of the girls have pleaded guilty, including the oldest, a 15-year-old, who was sentenced to 3 years in prison for assault with a dangerous weapon. Prosecutors called the teen as a key witness. 15-year-old said she and the other members of the group had been hanging out at a skate park in Silver Spring, Maryland, but wanted something else to do after returning to her home in the district. It was then she proposed to go find someone to beat up. Why did she suggest that? Because we were bored. They headed down to the intersection of Georgia Avenue and Sheridan Street in D.C.'s Brightwood. It was there they saw an unknown man already attacking Brown, who was lying on the ground. It was there they saw an unknown man already attacking Brown, who was lying on the ground. The 15-year-old said she asked the man if they could help him beat him up. When he agreed, they all began chasing Brown, who had attempted to run away from the man while they were talking to him. Surveillance video shows the teens and the unknown man chasing Brown through an alley until they finally catch up with him. Then one of the girls used her cell phone to record while the group repeatedly taunted him as they beat and kicked him. Members of Brown's family who attended the trial stepped out of the hallway before prosecutors played the graphic video. When he was they mocked him for bleeding. Damn you, leaking, they said. They testified that Brown died of blunt force trauma to the head, which caused bleeding to his brain. Do you remember what you were thinking when you walked back to the alley? He's dead, the girl said. The 2 girls found guilty of second-degree murder charges will be sentenced in December. Terrible case. You'll notice, and you can argue about whether they deserve more time or whatever, but I would argue that a 12-year-old doesn't have the same judgment as a 19-year-old or an 18-year-old, or certainly this unknown man that was with them. And the idea that somehow they chose to jump in because this guy, the other guy, thought he deserved it or whatever. They're kids. But what you can argue with is that they were arrested, they were put on trial, and they were found guilty. And this is why Dems fund after-school programs, because bored kids do dumb shit. Yes, a myriad of things. Yeah, absolutely. So, again, they're talking about the Reggie Brown case. That's what she means. 2 more of them are going to be sentenced and have not yet. One of them got sentenced to 3 years till she was 19 because they can't tell. That's why they pled them out, too. They don't know which person was responsible for the last hit, right, that killed him. And the one, they could believe that he was unconscious and they thought he was dead and they walked away because they were children and he was still alive, and the guy who was with them, who they don't know, could have kicked him and killed him, and that was what he died of, and they can't prove it. So that's why it would be, why in court, if you got a bunch of girls, why you would charge them differently by age and by responsibility from the video they saw and all that kind of stuff. So it's crucial to this. Does anybody think, though, that is indicative of the problem most well-to-do DC people who are bitching to Trump and Pirro or Greta experience in the crime they see? Or do you think they're watching fucking theft porn on their fucking phone most of the time and are panicked about it? Or you have the big balls thing, which, by the way, they will try people for that. People will go to jail for that if they catch them.
Feel some of the responsibilities so they do more responsible things.
Yeah, so we're going to charge the parents. Yeah, you mean like Democrats suggest about school shootings?
And you know, Greta, years ago, I recommended the same thing because our frustration level is so great. We're looking for some control. And who has the ultimate control over a child? A parent. But the
No. The ultimate control over a child is ultimately, whether mature or not, the mind of that child. And again, you could argue that in some of these cases, yeah, the control over that child had been ceded to another kid.
problem is a lot of these kids, don't have parents who were there or who are interested in what they're doing. A lot of them have left home. Some of them are runaways. Some of them in gangs. Some of them in foster care. I believe in parental accountability and responsibility.
Even for the foster care. So let me get this straight. What you're going to transfer somebody to a foster, to foster parents, and 2 weeks later they do something like this because of the shit they've been through in their fucking life or whatever happened to them, or just because they're kind of ratty at that point, or they're going through some sort of phase, or that's their identity as far as they think, whatever they think of themselves. That's, their toughness and their meanness is part of their identity that's kept them alive this long in their own mind, right? And you're going to charge what? The foster parents that just got assigned them that kid 2 weeks ago? Because the kid snuck out? Because they don't run their house like a fucking prison?
But unfortunately, that doesn't solve the extent of the problem that we have here. And you've got older kids telling younger kids to, commit crimes or to shoot or to carjack. They torch a car, Greta, and I can't not prosecute them.
Why would you not want to prosecute them? Yeah, she said she can't not prosecute them.
This is crazy. If you're 16 under Title 16, if you're 16 or 17, I can only prosecute you for rape 1, murder, sexual abuse, robbery, armed robbery, and burglary 1. Nothing else.
Yeah, that covers a lot of shit. Burglary 1 would probably cover a car.
Nothing else.
What do you think? Like, carjacking doesn't fall under assault and theft?
You know what's crazy, Greta? I got to write an op-ed piece on this soon. There's no definition of manslaughter in D.C. Think about that. Think about it, Greta. You and I have been trained in the law. There's no definition of manslaughter. I mean, there's a lot that needs to be done. And my next...
Hold on. In Washington, D.C., manslaughter is defined as the unlawful killing of a human being without malice aforethought. It is a general intent crime that differs from murder because it requires less culpability. Manslaughter in D.C. can be either voluntary or involuntary, and specific penalties are outlined in D.C. Code 22-2105. D.C. Code 22-2105 defines the crime of involuntary manslaughter. In the district, here's the unlawful act, reckless and grossly negligent. Lawful act, examples of situations of involuntary manslaughter. Okay, key points in involuntary. So what she's saying is voluntary manslaughter? Is that the idea? In Washington, and it says can either be voluntary or voluntary, and the specific penalties are outlined in D.C. Code. Key points of manslaughter. Lack of malice, voluntary versus involuntary. Voluntary manslaughter occurs when a person intentionally kills another in the heat of passion, often due to adequate provocation, which would be what she was trying to get that 19-year-old on the bus. The guy was provoking him, but he killed him at the height of passion. It wasn't murder. It was voluntary manslaughter. She thinks that's not something that could get him on, but that's what she wanted to go for, in theory. Involuntary manslaughter was recovered. Penalties for manslaughter in D.C. is imprisonment up to 30 years and or a fine. Firearms. If a firearm is involved, there's a mandatory minimum sentence of 5 to 10 years. And an adult. Maybe what she means is there's no manslaughter definition. Let's see. Juvenile court manslaughter is what she means. Juvenile division person not yet reached this thing. Manslaughter definition. Nope, it's the same. Trial is an adult. Under specific circumstances, particularly for serious offenses like murder, they can charge 16, 17-year-olds as adults. Additionally, D.C. Attorney General's office can petition a judge to charge. Oh, so she can petition a judge to charge juvenile offenders age 15 and above as adults if there's evidence that the juvenile lacks reasonable prospects for rehabilitation in the juvenile system. If a juvenile is tried and convicted as an adult, the penalties for manslaughter can be severe, including imprisonment and fines. It's not even. What the fuck? Back into the box of wine, lady. Okay. I think we can conclude today, ladies and gentlemen, if I do say so to everyone today, that we can all learn something here in this church of human experience that we all find ourselves in. You're born into this church, you're going to live in this church, you're going to die in this church. The church of human experience, where you experience a lot of shit, I'm just saying to you. And you're standing here in front of God and everybody, whether you believe in God or everybody, you're going to go through some shit, ladies and gentlemen. Oh, yes. You're going to experience some fucked up things left and right. And what you're going to experience today, the lesson, is that the world is chock full of dumbasses. Can I get an amen? Ladies and gentlemen, in the choir that I'm preaching to, we are surrounded on all sides by people who, in the words of my granddaddy, are flat ate up with the dumbass. And the biggest limitation, I dare say, if I'm trying to be charitable to our dear friends who are a bit mess, but are still congregants in the church of being a human being. If I could say, one of the biggest limitations is that these motherfuckers can't read. That's right. They can make the words out in the books. They can point to them and say, that's a word, and that's a word, and I know that word and that word, but they can't put it all together. They can't put it all together. They can't take the meanings individually of these words and jam them together as they are written in the word before them and glean, if I can say glean, sexual chocolate. If I can glean from the evidence laid out before us in the church of human experience, ladies and gentlemen, that these motherfuckers can't look at how the sin tax, if I do say, and we all in the church of human experience, we're paying a sin tax every day. And today, the tax we are paying is for the sin of being a dumbass, that these people choose to be. I don't say that they're born this way. This is an active participation, if you know what I'm saying. And they can look at the words laid out in a sentence, in a paragraph, in a chapter in a book, on a poster, going across the bottom of a foreign film even. And while they can break down each word and they can read them in order out loud to give the illusion that they know what those words mean, they do not garner any kind of message, any kind of information, anything that would help them grow their intellect from the connection of those words. Yes, every word they read on a page is separate in and of itself. Motherfucker. So, Lord, we're going to take a moment right now. We're going to pray for these dumbasses that one day they will look into a book and instead of seeing a bunch of sticks and bendy lines all going in one direction, they will recognize the pattern created by the connection of these words that might form into, dare I say, ideas, the kind of things that thoughts are made of. They will hold that thought in their mind and go, oh shit, this whole time I have been ate up with the dumbass. Amen. Thank you very much. Praise Jesus. And if you could throw a little bit in the trough for us, we're only here by the grace of our viewers, ladies and gentlemen. Hit that like and subscribe for the Lord. And we will see you next time. I feel slightly bad that I do not have a gospel version of my theme song. So we're going to have to settle for an orchestra. Open your heart up. Recognize that some people see a word on a page with a word after it, another word, and another word, and another word, but they never have the ability to connect the meaning of those words so they can figure out what the fuck the book is about. Praise Jesus and pass some mashed potatoes. I can't believe the show worked this well. That's a blessing in and of itself. Shit. Running off my iPad. Way to go. I'll see you guys tomorrow. By the way, I'm going to be on Stephanie Miller on Monday. I'm going to be on Brian Karam on Sunday. And I'm going to be on Tara's show on Thursday next week. So this will be a crazy. Too much of me. And Friday, we're going to have a show at Flappers. Get your ass down there or join our Patreon and get to watch it for free or become a member on the YouTube channel. That's another way to do it. Take care of yourself. Take care of somebody else. Where are the fucking credits? Here they come.